Direct assessment of student learning. How to develop direct assessment instruments. We have been doing basically every single day since we have started teaching. However, there are a few things that I want to talk about to do it even better way. So if you remember the backward design where we discussed about what a student needs upon the graduation. So the day they graduate, what they need on that particular day before they get out of the program. And then, so we determine the student learning outcome first, and then we try to think of how do we make sure that students are getting what they are supposed to get. So what are the acceptable evidences that we collect as evidences to prove that yes, students have learned the promised learning outcomes. Now, the direct assessment is the primary evidence that anybody, any external organization or anything you talk about, direct assessment is the primary thing people look at. And this is why. Let me show you, go back to the openeducator.com/assessment. If you look at under the program level assessment, this video, developing student learning outcomes and outcome-based assessment, let's check these documents. If you look at these documents, we have developed basically a course learning outcome all the way from the scratch. Now, if you look at this specific course learning outcomes, calculate the friction factor. So if we develop the learning outcome in a systematic way, we can directly use that statement in our assessment. Now, this calculate the friction factor, this is very detailed. We can see exactly whether it's student learning or not. And this is why the direct assessment is more important than anything else. The indirect assessments, such as the standardized test from ETS, Educational Testing Service, the professional licensing exam for engineers, nursing, they will not provide detailed diagnostic information about the curricular components, such as this calculate friction factor. Can the student use the Moody diagram? None of those tests will provide any of these items, curricular items that we want our student to or teach. So that's why it's so important. Now, there are two things I want to talk about in direct assessment. One is how to develop multiple choice questions, which I have already produced a video on that. So this is the video. Basically, we use multiple choice questions all the time, and there are lots of bad multiple choice questions out there. So by following this step-by-step research-based guideline will help us to develop quality multiple choice questions. Also, I have one of the most important ignored piece in assessment is the rubrics. We also produced a video on rubrics. So I hope both of these videos will help to develop quality direct assessment instruments.